2, 1.
Hey, welcome back to halftime. We're a little bit early because we wanted to catch the last 2 minutes of action and sort of catch up on where we're at so far. Andrew, this is it's going the way that we sort of envisioned it if everything broke right for the Warriors and everything went wrong for the Lakers.
This is great. This is just
It's amazing.
this is the effort level that we see. Like this is what you want, right? In a playing game. There's desperation. Like you can feel the tension through your screen for both teams. And it just so happens that the Warriors are making shots and the Lakers just continue to struggle to make shots. Dennis Schroeder hasn't scored yet. That to me is such a huge problem because he's supposed to be their third guy. And the third guy for the Warriors, and Andrew Wiggins, has played really well. And with two teams that are both obviously great defensive teams, these are top 5 defensive clubs. These teams are also bottom 10 offensive clubs for the season. And if you're not getting your scoring from your third guy, if you're not getting it from Schroeder, and the Warriors are getting it from Wiggins, that's why we see the Warriors up 12 right now with 1:43 left.
And it's not just the scoring, though, for Wiggins in this game. I mean, the Warriors have played wonderful defense so far, but Wiggins has absolutely held his own. I mean, more than held his own in every single battle with LeBron in the post. I mean, part of this it has me wondering about LeBron's ankle. He's not really pushing the issue, not very physical on drives. He's not using his shoulder and body the way that we're accustomed to seeing him. He doesn't look comfortable to me, Andrew.
No, he doesn't look comfortable. I mean, Wiggins blocked him.
Yeah,
on one of his shots in the first quarter. Yeah, he looks like he looks a little heavy for LeBron. He doesn't look as limber as he usually does.
He just missed the free throw here.
That's an issue. It's going to be an issue, and really, you can't miss free throws. You can't miss wide open corner threes, and that's stuff that's been happening with the Lakers so far.
Yeah, and you see it just on this possession, they're getting up. The Warriors are getting up early. I mean, JTA was up trying to set a screen, then Draymond comes over. The defense is really having to choose whether to stay attached to Steph Curry or let a guy go. And I think the Lakers they've done okay so far. I mean, they kept Steph bottled up until here recently. He hit a couple of threes in the last couple of minutes. They don't want him to get hot though. I mean, they're down 9 right now. I guess I'm a little bit behind in the action, but they're down 9 right now. And if Steph starts to get hot, especially in the second half, he loves third quarters. I mean, this one could be over before we get to the fourth.
Yeah, it could. I mean, Steph has only hit 2 threes. And I think that if you were to put like the over under for the Warriors to win, JTA just hits a 3. JTA he's kind of the guy of this game, right? Like he kind of embodies this game in so many ways. The way that he has defended LeBron, the effort level, the shot making. In transition, LeBron defending him, chase down, block LeBron. He just goes at him as if there's nobody there. I mean this has been quite a first half performance. Now they're not up 30,
No.
Steph just made a 3 to end.
So we're 50.
Boy, they're up 13,
55.
but when points are so difficult to come by for the Lakers, they only scored 42 in the half. When points are this difficult to come by, this feels like 23. This doesn't feel like 13, right? This feels much bigger. Now, could the Lakers come out hot? Certainly, but that was about as good a performance that you could have hoped for if you're a Warriors fan.
Yeah, absolutely dominant, I think, on the defensive end. And if we just look at the numbers, I mean, it's 88 net rating, or defensive rating, excuse me, 88 defensive rating for the Warriors in the first half against the defending champs. And again, I think that we can put a lot of this on LeBron not looking right. Anthony Davis, only 5 points in that first half. Getting next to nothing out of Schroeder. I mean, he just hit a layup here at the end of the half, but only 2 points, 1 of 9 from the field for Schroeder, 2 of 12 for Anthony Davis. I mean, the Warriors really just they're blowing the doors off of them defensively. They're blowing up everything they want to get into. Held them 5 of 18 from 3. This is a perfect Warriors half, I think, defensively.
It starts with Draymond, and then it kind of trickles through to everybody else, even Andrew Wiggins, who's a guy who has all the physical tools. I mean, we've known that since the day that he was drafted, right? But he's putting together a pretty nice performance here. And we're going to bring in Anthony Slater, our Warriors expert, to break down what's been going on so far with this team. Slater.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, it's just how we drew it up.
Oh, my. That was something.
That's exactly the way we drew it up for him, right? I mean, just wait until the last couple minutes for Steph Curry to do anything, have Andrew Wiggins and Juan Toscano-Anderson leading the charge offensively. Just perfect game plan from the Warriors.
I have many keys we can get to in that first half, but let's start with Draymond Green.
Oh, my gosh.
I don't know if you guys have already talked about it, but he took Anthony Davis out of the game. He walled him early. Yep. He got him into fadeaways, kind of like soft looking fadeaways, bricks early. That offensive foul late where he just let Davis crash into him. And if he's going to thoroughly outplay Davis like that, and you look at the wing, Andrew Wiggins just outplayed LeBron James pretty easily in that first half as well. That's ball game right there. I mean, obviously
that's it.
I mean, that's why they're up 13.5. Like, Steph got the gravity looks for a lot of the other guys, but I thought Draymond's defense and Wiggins' defense changed the complexion of that first half.
Yeah, Draymond had 5 or 6 big defensive plays in the first 4 minutes of the game. I mean, he just came in. You could see that he was on a mission, and his goal was to take Anthony Davis completely out of the game. And you're right, he did. 2 of 12 in the first half so far for Anthony Davis. Only 3 rebounds, which is huge because the Lakers should just dominate there. They've only got a 2 rebound advantage. So this is big for the Warriors.
Yeah. I mean, this looks like what we probably should have predicted it looked like as far as like what the rhythm of these teams, right? What have the Warriors been doing for 2 straight months? Playing these type of environments, must-win games. This past week, it was like, got to beat Utah, got to beat Phoenix. They're playing 40 minutes. Draymond, they were in New Orleans for these 2 huge games recently, and he's guarding Zion in these type of environments. Like they came in like kind of ready for this type of game. And like Davis kind of looked like he was in game 3 of the regular season where he's like, I kind of get my preseason legs out, and suddenly Draymond's in his face. He's not ready for that necessarily. The Lakers, like this really, I mean, even rotationally, like that's not much urgency from Frank Vogel. I mean, how many minutes Drummond play?
What about Marc Gasol? I mean, that's a guy that should be playing in this game and just out of the rotation completely. And you mentioned Drummond. Every single minute he's on the court is an absolute gift for the Warriors. I mean, let's just be honest about it. He's not a good basketball player. He's not good enough to play in this sort of environment against this sort of team.
No. And I honestly, he wasn't the main problem for the Lakers in the first half. Like they were minus whatever in his minutes, obviously. But, I would say the bigger problems is like LeBron's offense and his jumper look way off. I mean, he didn't hit rim on a few of them. And then, the fact that Davis is playing poorly, not like defensively, he wasn't that big of an impact. But, I mean, they're clearly going to be in a better situation if they got Kuzma, who I thought Kuzma looked pretty good. He was active. He kind of got on the glass. He should probably start the second half with Davis at center if I was Vogel and you're playing with the urgency. And then I would go to Gasol maybe if you want a center at points. And even, honestly, Montrezl Harrell was probably better than Drummond.
Now, I want to ruin the moment here, okay? I hate to do it, but I have to ask because we know that teams are tanking for seeding all the time. There's no chance that the Lakers are kind of just happy to use this as a conditioning game and trust their chances against Memphis.
Stop it, DuFour.
I'm just checking. Listen, I'm just checking.
Nobody wants to do this. You don't want to play must-win play-in games. I don't think so. I think it's the shooting. Like
it's
the
bad.
Lakers,
it's really
bad. Right now, if you took Caruso out, this team was shooting 24% outside of Caruso. Like that's like kind of the good and that's the bad news, but it's also kind of the good news for the Lakers. they're not going to shoot 24%. Like everybody besides Kuzma or Caruso is not going to shoot 24% in the second half.
But so do you like their looks?
This should be a closer game.
Do you like the looks some of them, they're getting?
They were missing wide open corner threes a lot of times too.
I like the looks that their supplementary guys are getting. KCP, you mentioned Caruso. I mean, those are clean open threes, which, the Warriors are getting on the other end too, right? Bazemore hit a couple. JTA, I thought, had a good half. Poole had a wide open three. He had a very good second quarter. But I don't like the looks their stars are getting, right? I mean, Davis is settling for the mid-range. And Dave, we talked about it pregame, right? In the playoffs, yeah, sure, he was like 64% from the mid-range, basically. It's not there right now. I mean, he's front rim in a lot of them. His legs obviously aren't there, and maybe that's not why he's trying to bully inside. But that's where you can beat this Warriors team, is like in the restricted area. And LeBron's gotten there a couple times, but I mean, we talk about out of rhythm. Like his offensive game, just even his layups don't look like they have that great of a shot of going in. I mean, his points were pretty much all at the free throw line on bully stuff.
Well, over in the chat, Jason Potter on YouTube in the chat, Jason Potter mentioned it's been a bad game for Dennis Schroeder. And, Schlecht, you had him in OKC. He can be a streaky guy, and it seems like this might be one of those bad nights for him.
Yeah, he can be streaky, but this is something a little bit different. He doesn't look as sharp. I think some of the conditioning staff has to come into play for him. These are just not normal conditions for Schroeder because this is not his game. I kind of feel bad for him that he's kind of being put in this situation, but he's their third guy. And as we mentioned earlier, like they need their third guy to step up or somebody outside of that to get them over the hump. And Schroeder was supposed to be this guy because who else creates? I mean, there's not a lot of other guys on this Lakers squad that creates, and he's supposed to be that guy.
He had a really good block shot, though, on Steph. He had one really nice defensive play. And he set up Drummond early on for a dunk. He needs to be a bit more. But again, it's kind of like what I was mentioning earlier. Like the Lakers look like they're just trying to get their sea legs, their regular season sea legs, essentially. I mean, this is a team that is kind of in game 3 of their regular season, where the Warriors are like in game 6 of a playoff series almost look out there. And that's Schroeder, that's AD, that's LeBron. I mean, those are their 3 most important players who over the last 4 months have played like how many games together? Like 2?
Not many. Not many at all. And how many complete games together? Because even some of those have been abbreviated.
Yeah.
And did you guys go ahead? Sorry.
I was just saying this was the concern of them falling into the play-in is if they were playing this Warriors team and this was game 1 and the Warriors won like this, and the Lakers, we could be talking 20 minutes from now, Lakers could be down 2 and have completely flipped the game. But if the Warriors go on to win this game, if it was a series, we'd be like, all right, Lakers will respond. They'll kind of get in rhythm. They'll make some adjustments. Drummond will probably get pulled from the starting lineup. No, now, I mean, it becomes danger time going Friday if they don't kind of pull this out.
Was there anything that you guys felt like was working for the Lakers that you think that they should go back to? I mean, again, we mentioned they did get a few good looks, but I just think overall, I mean, the Warriors have done a good job of making them uncomfortable.
I think LeBron and AD just got to be better. The actions I thought were fine. Maybe they just need to be more just kind of assertive to try to get into the interior I mean that's just a problem. I'm going to go to the stats now. What are they combined at half? Davis is 2 of 12 shooting and LeBron is 1 of 7. So we're talking about 3 of 19 from Davis and LeBron right now.
Yeah, look, it's going to be hard for them to win if those guys don't perform, of course. And in particular, on a night where Dennis Schroeder, your third guy, is also having a rough night. But Schlecht, I mean, it's the playoffs. Like, you got to figure this out. If LeBron's not right, what do they need to do?
Schlecht looked like he paused.
Schlecht might have frozen here. Well,
he's Frank Vogel at halftime thinking about what
there you go. Then I'll flip it over to you, Slater. What do you think?
I mean, I think I would make a lineup change. Like I said, I would have Kuzma start. I'd just match small with small because even when Looney's out there, they play a small style, right? I mean, Looney's a tinier center, and all they do is some of the Steph stuff with like Draymond up top. I'd start Kuzma. Maybe even have a Markieff Morris splash out there to have some spacing around Davis at points of the game. If you had to play a center, I'd probably play Gasol, although at this point you have him on ice. He didn't play the first half. He's probably thinking he's not even in the rotation. And this is a wider question for the Lakers as they move forward, assuming they do get by Memphis. Like, their center position is really not in a good place right now.
Yeah, it's not great. And if you're not shooting the ball well, I don't know why you wouldn't go to Gasol. He's another shooter, and it's another guy that you can use as an offensive hub. If LeBron's laboring, if Anthony Davis isn't giving you enough, or able to give you enough, I should say, then maybe having a guy like Gasol that you can run the offense through would be an option. But like you said, he's been on ice for so long. How do you just pull him out now?
Yeah, and you could tell just even with the Lakers starting and playing Drummond a lot, they're almost like operating like if they can just kind of squeak by this game, they can maybe make tougher rotation decisions in the meat of series coming ahead. Like Vogel, I thought was good in the playoffs last year of making in-series rotational adjustments. JaVale would be starting. JaVale would go to DNP. Dwight Howard suddenly was starting against Denver because he fit the matchup, wasn't playing against Houston. But, you have to get to those series to get there. And it almost looked like they came in operating of like, doesn't really matter how we rotationally go tonight. You're probably going to beat the Warriors, but now you're in danger time. And then it's like, suddenly we're talking locker room politics. Are you going to bench Andre Drummond at half of the first play-in game? And maybe, you might lose him. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, Andrew, let's talk about the second half. What are you looking for in the second half from either team?
I think this is all about LeBron James and Anthony Davis, right? It's what can those guys do in the second half? Maybe LeBron had his feel out half. He has his feel out first game, usually in series. Like maybe he was feeling out the Warriors in the first half because we talked about kind of his health. He didn't look great, but maybe he starts to figure some stuff out. I think that they need LeBron James. They need Anthony Davis to get hot in order to win. I mean, we can talk about Schroeder. We can talk about Marc Gasol. We can talk about trying to get Talen Horton-Tucker some looks, but it really all comes down to stars. It's going to be really what everybody's kind of wanted. It's going to be Steph versus LeBron. Like these are the moments in these big games like this. This is who these teams rely on. And so to me, it's going to be, can Anthony Davis and LeBron James show up? And I expect them to play much better than they did in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be hard to do worse. That's the number one thing for the Lakers, I think. Go ahead, Anthony.
I'll give you my Warriors key before I actually get back to actually watching this game. Draymond Green cannot get ejected. And he pushes the limit. He already has the T, which we predicted, right? Pre-game.
That's right.
And he's got one. And guess what? He didn't stop arguing after one, right? You saw him a few other times, like getting in referees' faces. I think JTA got called for a double T, and there was a second you're like, did they just toss Draymond? He's not going to kind of neuter himself, as we've seen. And this is on the referees too, right? They have to have kind of a limit with him too. But if he gets ejected, that changes the game. So he can't get ejected.
Yeah, I hope the refs remember that we're all at home watching this, right? Yeah. Like this is an entertainment product. I need a little bit more WWE refereeing for the rest of this game, right? Like give them some leeway. As far as I'm concerned, the thing that I'm looking for is I want to see if the Warriors can maintain the pace. You see what they're doing defensively. I mean, there were possessions where JTA was touching 5 guys on the Lakers and maybe 6 over on the bench when he was talking smack to him. So if they can maintain this level of activity defensively, I think the Warriors are going to roll the rest of this game. That's going to be big to watch.
Yes, for sure. This thing's about to tip, guys. I'm out. You guys can keep going if you need to.
Well, I think we're going to go ahead and call it quits, and we're going to watch the rest of this game with you guys. Don't forget to check out the Daily Ding. Jared Weiss, we got Keith Parrish tonight, big Grizzlies guy, huge Grizzlies win, so make sure you check that out. Go check it out and subscribe, rate and review the Daily Ding and the Athletic NBA Show, and we'll catch you guys later on this week with more live Nerder She Wrote Friday in the afternoon, and check Twitter for that. We'll be sending out the links. For Andrew and for Anthony, I'm Dave, and we'll catch you guys later on this week.